Hi everyone, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Janelle Knutson. You can find me over at janelleknutson.com. Today I wanted to share with you how I organize our homeschool records. So a lot of you have been asking for this video, so here it is. A couple things that I want to point out to you. First of all, I am currently homeschooling in California, and so we register as a private school. Our home is registered as a private school. So some of my system here is designed to meet the requirements of California law. So make sure you know the laws in your state for record keeping, and you might want to tweak my system just a little bit to make sure that you're in compliance with your state law. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is that there is a blog post that goes along with this video that's going to have links to everything that I mentioned. And so if you're watching on YouTube, just look down below. There should be a link to that blog post. You can check that out and be able to see all the resources there. All right, well, what I want to do in this video is first go through all of the materials, all the supplies that you need to set up this system. Then I'm going to walk you through how you actually set it up, and then finally I'll share with you how we use it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what supplies you need to put together this homeschool record-keeping organizational system. First of all, you're going to need something to store all of these hanging file folders in. And so I have used these plastic tubs. I have 2 of them because I have 5 children, so I've got 3 kids in this tub and 2 children in this tub. These tubs are great. They actually have wheels on them, so they're really easy to slide in and out of our homeschool area, which is our dining room. I can pull them out when I need them, put them away in a closet when I'm done. I can also take the wheels off of one of them, stack it on top of the other one if you have like a really narrow, tall but narrow space that you need to store them in. So they're really great, and of course they have lids that go on top. But any type of tub that, or filing cabinet that's going to hold hanging file folders is going to work just fine. Now the next thing that you're going to need is 14 hanging file folders per child. So let me go ahead and take one of them out. You're going to want 14 of these hanging file folders per child, and I would recommend getting a different color for each child. And the reason why you want 14 of them is you're going to have one labeled kindergarten, first grade, second grade, all the way up through 12th grade. So that's 13 years of school records that you're going to be keeping. Plus, you're going to want another one that's going to be their cumulative folder. And I'll talk more about what that is in a little bit. But you want 14 hanging file folders. The next thing that you're going to want is 13 just file folders that look like this. You're going to want 13 of those, and these are going to be labeled kindergarten through 12th grade as well. And these are actually going to go inside the cumulative hanging file folder. Again, I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. So again, just to review, you want something to store your records in. You're going to want 14 hanging file folders per child, and you're going to want 13 just regular file folders per child as well. And ideally, it would be good if you color coordinate them. It really makes it a lot easier to find them. The last thing that you might need, I need here in California, is just one extra file folder. I have mine a completely different color than the other folders that I use for the kids, and this is for your school records, and that's where I put the school records that we have to keep here in California. That can also be used really for anything, correspondence that you have with maybe a school district or some program that you're using. So you might not need a school folder, but it's helpful to have a folder that really is just for your homeschool in general and isn't specific to each child. All right, so now let's look at how you put this whole system together. All right, now let's look at how we put together this homeschool record keeping system now that we purchased all of our supplies. Just one quick thing to note is that if you're using the same tubs that I am, it really is ideal just to fit 2 kids per tub. Here I have 2 children. This tub I actually have 3, and eventually I'm going to have to move somebody out because it just gets a little tight after you start putting in all of the records in there. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is, if you are having a separate school folder, then you're going to want to label that school records and put that right into your file box. Then you're going to want to get the hanging file folders for your child. And again, remember, you want 14 hanging file folders for each child. So this child is red, and you're going to stagger the tabs so that you can see them a lot easier in the file box. The first tab is going to be labeled with their name. I've turned this around to protect my child's privacy, but that's where you would write your child's name. This one is going to be their cumulative folder, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. Then you're going to start labeling them kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Now, of course, if you are not homeschooling from kindergarten through 12th grade, you're not going to need as many folders. You just need them for the grades that you're homeschooling in. What you're going to do is, these folders back here, kindergarten through 12th grade, is where you're going to put samples of their work and their tests. And then their cumulative folder is going to have kind of more of the official records, and so we'll talk about that in a minute. So you're going to get that set up, and then you're just going to slide that right in to your file box, just like that. Now the next thing that we want to do is build our cumulative folder, and so what we're going to do is grab the file folders. Remember, we have 13 of these file folders, and they're in the same color as our hanging file folders. That's really helpful to color coordinate, makes it a lot more efficient and easy to find things, and that's what I'm all about. Got 7 kids, I want things to be quick and easy. Now you're going to label them, well, first you're going to stagger them like I did, again, so they're easier to find, and then you're going to label them kindergarten through 12th grade. Again, if you're not homeschooling for all those years, you only need file folders for the grades that you're going to be homeschooling. I like to get mine set up right from the get-go. When my child's going into kindergarten, I put this whole thing together so that it's all ready for me to organize when each year, and I don't have to do anything else. It's just all set to go. So what I just did was I slid these file folders into the hanging file folder that has my child's name on it. That's going to be their cumulative folder. And really, that's all there is to it in terms of setting it up. Now you're probably wondering, how does this whole system work? That's what we're going to talk about next. How I utilize all of this to make record keeping so quick and easy. All right, well, we've gotten our supplies and we've set up our boxes for record keeping. So now how does this all work? So what I'm going to do is just walk you through how I actually use this homeschool record keeping system. All right, now remember, the first thing that we talked about was my school records folder. So let me tell you what I put in there. I put any of the records that is required for a private school to keep in California. One of the things that includes is a course of study. So I have just some samples of things just to show you. For those of you who are homeschooling in California, this might be helpful as well. So one of the things that I put in is our homeschool course of study. And so I just printed these off from CHEA of California. That's CHEA of CA.org, CHEAofCalifornia.org. These are just a course of study for 1st through 6th grade and a course of study through 7th through 12th grade, excuse me. And so I just dropped those right into our school records binder. Another thing that I keep in the school records binder is our attendance record. We have to keep attendance records here in California. Now, if you have to keep them individually for each child, you might want to put that in their cumulative folder. But I just go ahead and put all my children's names, because if one of them's in school, they're all in school. And if one's sick, we take the day off. So I can keep track of all of my kids' records on one chart, and that goes into the school records as well. So at the end of each year, So I guess let me back up. At the beginning of each year, I print out this attendance record, and then I go ahead and slide that in at the end of the year into the homeschool records. Now, the other thing that I keep in the school records folder is a few other things that are required by California law, as well as the copies of our affidavit, because we have to file a affidavit. Now, back here, remember, we had these folders that are labeled kindergarten. Let me just hold one up here. Kindergarten through 12th grade. What these are for is samples of their work. So at the end of each school year, I just go ahead and each subject, I take out a sample from the beginning of the school year, the middle of the school year, the end of the school year for each subject, and then I just drop that right in to the grade level that they're in, and then that we're finishing up. And then any tests, or if they did some projects, I'll take a picture of that project, print it out, and go ahead and put it in the appropriate grade. So that makes it really easy. So at the end of the year, when I'm clearing out their folders, I just grab samples, get them all together, find the appropriate grade that they're in, open that folder up, drop all of the records right in there. Super easy because it's all set up. I don't have to do anything else. So that's great. Now, the one thing that we haven't talked about is this folder, the cumulative folder that has your child's name on it, as well as 13 file folders labeled kindergarten through 12th grade. What do you use those for? Well, let me tell you. In the very front of the folder, what I stick in there is our health records. In California, we have to keep health records for our kids, so I go ahead and slide those in there. Also, if you are keeping a cumulative record, so if you have basically kind of like, this is a elementary cumulative record, middle school cumulative record. These samples, again, are from the CHIA's website that I will link in the blog post that goes with this video, but I would just keep those in here. And what this is it says your child's name and some information, and then it just has the grades that they have. So this would be what grades they got in first grade, second grade, third grade, and you continue to fill this out. So it's not grade specific. It's for all of those grades, so I put it in the beginning of the folder. I hope that makes sense. Another thing that I keep in the beginning of their cumulative folder would be their transcripts for high school, my high schoolers' transcripts. Now, for each individual year, so this one is labeled kindergarten. What do I keep in the kindergarten one? I keep a proposed course of study. I don't have to do this by law in California, but I like to write out all of the subjects that my kids are learning that I want to do with them that year, and then go ahead and write, I don't know if you can see it, but these are all the subjects, then the textbooks that I'm going to be using, and then some additional information. So this is just a sample, again, that I got off of CHIA's website. I have tweaked it a little bit and made one for myself, but I just would slide that in. If that's a proposed course of study for kindergarten, I'm just going to slide that in to the kindergarten folder in the beginning of the year. Then what I do is I print out a extracurricular activities worksheet, a little chart here, a field trip record one, as well as a reading record. They're kind of like logs, and so I keep these out throughout the year, and then I write down the books that my kids have read for school and for leisure. I go ahead and write down any extracurricular activities that that particular child has done, field trips that they have taken. At the end of the year, I grab those sheets of paper and I go ahead and I slide it into the cumulative folder under the grade that goes with. So the way that I use the cumulative folder is that the front of it is for things that are specific to that child but aren't grade specific. And then the rest of them, I hear crying,